This video is about replacing our marine radio. The old one in our boat has died, so it's time to replace it. And what we've got is this new GME. It's a GX400. Now, this is the first time I've opened the box, so not really sure what I'm going to find in here. Don't know how many accessories come with it. I think just the basic kit. Well, the first thing I notice about that is it is substantially smaller than the old one. The old radio was more like a standard CB radio, came out to about here somewhere. Heavy. It's got what appear to be heat sinks on the back. The back is metal, the front casing plastic, and it's meant to be waterproof to a depth of about 1 meter for 30 minutes, I believe the rating is. Okay, handpiece, nice and solid. Actually feels like a much better quality unit than the old one we had. This one has a speaker built into the handset as well, so that makes it a lot easier to hear when you're using the radio. 2 emergency channels. All the other controls on it look fairly standard. Standard aerial socket, so that'll fit our existing aerial. Power sockets. Yet to go through and find that will be an external speaker by the looks of it. Looks like there's 2 of those. Yep. All seems to be nicely waterproofed, and that's your power. So there's going to be an extension line for that in here somewhere, I hope. Okay, so that's the entire contents of the box. Some mounting screws, the mount for it, and it appears to even come with a front cover, which is good. What have we got inside that? Something else inside there. Okay, microphone holder, so you can pop that up, mount it on the outside. We've got a box that we're going to use to mount this on. We've got 2 dinghies, so we want to be able to move this between both boats. We'll do the install a little bit later on, but we'll add it to this video. And your power cable, fused of course, and just bare ends, so we'll be putting a couple of connectors on there so that we can hook it up onto the battery. The faceplate is a nice little touch there, that's quite good. Let's see how that goes on. I assume this way somewhere. Okay, so it's very nice to have a little faceplate on there. Keeps splash off the front when you're moving along in the boat. Seems to be a pretty good little quality unit. We picked that up from BCF, 152 bucks on special. Usually around about the $180 mark. The install will be fairly straightforward because we already have the aerial mount and everything done in the boat. We've got one of those Bermuda boxes that just clips onto the side, so we'll be able to shift that between one boat and the other very simply. Little manual, a few things to look through, so the next job will be to read through that. Make sure I don't get anything wrong as I'm installing it. So we'll come back shortly and do the install. So the GME is 27 megahertz. It has both the Marine band and also the old Citizens band, so you can switch between the 2. Very doubtful that the old Citizens band radio is going to be of any use these days since everybody has switched to UHF, but Marine frequency is still 27 megahertz, so you definitely need that when you're on the water. Comes with a little sticker, quick reference chart, so that you can tell where emergency channels are, what channels to listen to. Useful for us to stick on the box that this is going to go on. if you're going to mount one of these in the dash on a panel on your boat. Also useful to put next to the radio so you don't have to remember your channels. In an emergency, some people tend to panic a bit. I'm one of those people, so good to have a quick reference just to refer to. Now we're just going to do a quick install of the radio. As you can see, the old radio here substantially bigger than the new one. Also quite a lot lighter, all plastic, not as well made by the feel of it, so I think the GME might last a bit longer. This one has lasted a few years, but the rust eventually got to the inside of it, so it's in the bin for it now. All we need to do for the battery connections are very simple. Just a couple of crimp-on ends, so we'll just pop those onto the cable. And here we have the radio working. It's just been hooked up to the battery. This is the box that we keep our radio and sounder gear in. You can see on top there's the sounder. That will sit upright when the aerial gets folded up. You have a little battery off to the side there, its own little box. So there's not really much to installing these things. What we'll do at some other stage is actually go through the operation of it. Really the main items with them are the squelch button. As you can hear, the static kicks in. At the point where that kicks in, you wind it back just a little bit. When that stops, you know your squelch is right. You can see the emergency channel button there if you want to transmit on the emergency channel. Volume button here for changing your volume, and channel selection. Backlit screen on there so it's easy to see. You have some pre-programmable channels. PR1, there's a couple of pre-programmable channels on here, PR1 and PR2, so you can instantly switch to those channels once you've decided which ones you want to use. And in a later video where we have a look at boating safety, we'll actually go through this in a little bit more detail, so that people who haven't had much experience with boat radios have got some idea of how to use them and what the protocols are. In this case, your handset, you have a transmit button when you're talking, let it go when you stop talking. This one has a built-in speaker at the back, so if you are in pretty rough conditions and you can't hear the set, you can put this up to your ear. The other side is your microphone, and of course you can change channels from here as well. And although it's not really marked on there, that's an emergency button. I guess it really should be marked a little bit more obviously, like the one on the front is. So apart from that, all I've got to do now is just put the holder on here so that we can hang the microphone on the outside of the box, and that will do it for now. And this is the completed install. You have the radio inside the Bermuda box. These are particularly good. The plastic stands up really well to sunshine. We've had this for many years, no signs of cracking or no signs of becoming brittle. So on top there we've got the old Hummingbird Echo sounder that we use for the bigger dinghy. Inside the radio, and just inside there we have the battery. We've got a solar panel that we can use to charge that up if we need to. That can actually go in the boat if we are going out for any extended period. And this whole little box just picks up and can be put on the side of the boat, no problems at all.